The hall was vast, filled with alien banners, glowing crystals, and heavy silence broken only by the voices of leaders from 100 worlds. They had gathered to end the war, or at least that was the hope whispered outside the council chamber. Humanity had sent an ambassador calm and quiet, his black uniform simple compared to the shining robes and armor around him. The aliens laughed at him before he even spoke. One silver-skinned leader sneered. "Humanity should be grateful we even allowed them a seat," another added. "Their planet was on fire just a century ago. How can they offer us peace?" The human ambassador folded his hands on the table, his expression unreadable. For hours the debate raged. Alien generals slammed their claws, tails, or fists on the table, demanding more territory, more power, more control. Whenever the ambassador suggested compromise, the voices only grew louder. A scaled reptilian general hissed, "You come here with weak words, but we remember your desperation. Humans are survivors, yes, but survivors of scraps, not rulers of stars." The ambassador did not flinch. His voice was steady. "Humanity wants peace. We want trade, cooperation, and stability. But peace requires respect without respect. There can be no talks." His words were met with jeers. An insectoid queen clicked her mandibles, her guards buzzing with laughter. "Respect? You have none to demand. Your fleets are old, your armies small. You are only tolerated because you are loud." Somewhere in the hall, an older alien, his skin wrinkled like stone, raised a hand for silence. His voice was soft, but it carried weight. "Do not laugh too quickly. I fought against humans long ago. I saw their ships burn, but I also saw them refuse to surrender. Even when outnumbered 10-1, they lost, yes, but the cost we paid was greater than we admitted." The room grew quiet for a moment. Suspicion flickered across some faces, but then another alien laughed, shattering the tension. "Old stories do not matter. Humans are broken. The only reason they survived was luck." The ambassador's eyes narrowed slightly, but he said nothing. He only watched as the arguments turned into insults. The council leader, a towering creature with golden horns, finally raised his staff. "Enough! There will be no agreement today." The humans refused to yield. "And so these talks are pointless. Humanity will accept the terms we offer, or they will face the consequences." Murmurs of approval swept the hall. Some slammed their hands on the table in agreement. The ambassador rose slowly, his chair scraping against the floor. Every eye turned toward him, expecting him to plead, to argue, to beg for another chance. Instead, he straightened his uniform and said calmly, "If peace is denied, then war will come, but remember, it will not come as you expect." Gasps filled the chamber. The ambassador turned and walked away, his footsteps echoing under the high ceiling. No guards moved to stop him, though some reached for weapons as if unsure. A reptilian general spat on the floor. "Empty threats," he growled. But the older alien with stone-like skin whispered, "No, not empty. I felt something in his words." "A weight." His words unsettled even those who mocked before. The insectoid queen clicked in irritation. "Bah!" Humans bark because they cannot bite. Still, as the human left, the air felt colder. Delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The golden-horned leader tried to dismiss the unease, declaring the session closed. Yet long after the ambassadors and soldiers dispersed, the memory of that human's calm warning lingered outside the chamber. Alien spies sent hurried messages back to their masters. The humans did not protest. They did not beg. They only promised war. Those reports, simple as they were, carried more fear than the loudest threats. Meanwhile, the ambassador walked alone down the shining corridor. His reflection glimmered in the polished floor. A guard finally dared to ask him, "Do you not fear them, human?" He paused, glancing back with a faint, cold smile. "Fear is a luxury. We came for peace. But peace is not given, it is earned. They will understand soon." The guard felt a chill, as if the walls themselves were listening. Back in the chamber, the old alien who had warned them spoke again, though most had already left. His voice echoed in the empty hall. "They think humanity weak, but weakness is a mask. I saw it once before. I pray none of us see it again." His words went unanswered. Yet in the silence, they felt like prophecy. The talks had collapsed. The galaxy believed they had dismissed a nuisance. But deep inside, unease spread like a shadow. Humanity had left without agreements, without allies, without applause. Yet the memory of that calm warning was heavier than any fleet. Somewhere in the vast dark of space, something had already begun to move. And the galaxy had no idea what awaited them. The council chamber emptied slowly, but the echoes of the human ambassador's words still lingered in the air. Leaders from across the stars muttered to one another, their voices lowered now, as if speaking too loudly might summon the humans back into the room. Some laughed to hide their unease. Others whispered with real fear. The grand peace table, once a symbol of unity, now felt broken, cracked in spirit even if still whole in stone. In the corridors outside, alien delegates gathered in clusters, their guards keeping watch. A feathered diplomat from the northern arm of the galaxy whispered sharply, "Did you see his eyes?" He spoke no threat but the silence behind his words. It was not weakness, it was certainty. Another, a small creature with glowing skin, shook his head quickly. "Certainty or bluff, it matters not. Humanity cannot rise again. Their fleets are relics. Their armies scattered, they should fear us. Not the other way around." The feathered one did not answer, but his wings twitched uneasily in a hidden corner of the hall. The old stone-skinned veteran who had spoken during the session remained seated. His gaze was fixed on the table, his mind drifting back to memories long buried. One of his aides approached carefully. "Elder, why do you linger?" "The council is over," the old one spoke slowly, each word like gravel rolling down a mountain. "Because their silence reminds me of another day, a battlefield covered in ash. I fought humans once. I thought them finished. Yet they rose again, stronger, faster, angrier than before." His aide frowned. "But they lost, didn't they? Their world burned, their fleets shattered." The elder's dark eyes narrowed. "Yes, they lost the battle, but not the war inside them. They learned, they built, they endured. Do not forget, humans measure time not in centuries but in scars. And scars never fade." His aide said nothing, the weight of those words settling heavily between them. Meanwhile, in the grand streets outside the council tower, common citizens from various species had gathered to hear rumors. Markets buzzed with news. Messengers ran through alleys. "The humans walked out," one cried. "They left the table without bending." "Without fear," a merchant with scaled hands muttered nervously. "Then why do I feel afraid when they are the ones who should tremble?" An old soldier buying food nearby overheard and whispered, "Because you have not fought them, I have. They fight like they have nothing left to lose, and that makes them dangerous." Back inside the tower, in a smaller chamber lit by blue fire, a secret meeting began. Generals from 3 rival species gathered in secret. Their eyes gleamed with ambition. "This is our chance," said one, his voice sharp like a blade. The humans left in silence. "They are weak. Their silence is fear. Let us strike their colonies now while they hesitate," another general agreed, pounding his armored fist on the table. "Yes, let us crush their outposts. If we show the galaxy they cannot protect their own, the rest will never respect them again." But the third general, younger yet more cautious, raised a hand. "And what if we are wrong? What if their silence is not fear but preparation? What if they hid something?" The others laughed at him, their teeth flashing. "Hid something?" The humans barely control their home system. Their fleets are obsolete. You imagine shadows where none exist. The young general did not laugh. His gaze lingered on the closed council doors, replaying the ambassador's calm expression in his mind. Far away, on a lonely balcony high above the city, 2 alien envoys spoke in hushed voices as the twin suns sank below the horizon. "Do you believe the humans will fight?" one asked. The other looked toward the stars where Earth lay hidden among countless lights. "Not only will they will fight with everything. I fear the council has made a mistake. They think peace was weakness. They do not understand that peace was a gift." Back on the main floor of the tower, a low tremor ran through the ground, not from quakes, but from tension itself. The council leader, with golden horns, walked with his entourage. Laughing loudly, "The humans will crawl back. They always do. This is nothing but noise." Tomorrow we return to business. His laughter echoed, but fewer and fewer joined it. The old stone-skinned veteran finally stood, his heavy frame moving slowly toward the exit. His aide followed nervously. "Elder, what troubles you most?" The veteran stopped in the shadow of the massive doors and said in a voice almost too low to hear, "What troubles me is not what they said, but what they did not say. When a human threatens, you can measure the risk, but when a human is silent, you cannot measure the end." His words hung in the air. Heavy and sharp outside, night fell over the alien capital. Stars glimmered in the dark sky. Ships moved like fireflies across the horizon. To the rest of the galaxy, the day had ended. But for humanity, something had just begun, hidden far away. In places no spy had reached, whispers stirred in the void. Whispers of engines, of weapons, of long-forgotten power awakening. The galaxy did not yet know. But the quiet moment at the shattered table would be remembered as the last moment of peace. The galaxy barely had time to settle after the collapse of peace talks. Rumors traveled faster than ships. Whispers spread through space stations and markets. The humans left without bowing, some said. "They will come crawling back," others insisted. Yet in the shadows of the Council's pride, darker plans were already moving. In a dim war room on a distant alien world, generals from a powerful faction studied star maps glowing across the table. Their voices were sharp, filled with hunger. "The humans are weak," one hissed, his scales glittering under the lights. "They dared to walk out, they dared to challenge us. We cannot allow such arrogance to spread." Another slammed a fist on the table. "Then let us strike. Let us burn their colonies while they still think they have time. If humanity rises again, it will be too late to stop them." The youngest among them shifted uncomfortably. "Are you certain?" They spoke little, but there was something in their silence. It did not feel like fear. His words drew mocking laughter. A horned general sneered, "Fear clouds your mind. Young one, they are nothing. Their fleets are old, their weapons outdated. We will crush them before the Council even notices." Plans were drawn. Fleets prepared and secret orders were sent. Within days, the betrayal began. It started with the outpost at Cora 7, a small human colony built on the edge of alien-controlled space. Families lived there. Miners worked the fields of rare metals, and children played under artificial suns. They had no warning when the sky filled with fire. Alien warships descended without a word. Their cannons tore apart defense satellites in seconds. Screams echoed through comm channels. "We are under attack. This is not a drill." A mother pulled her child into a shelter as explosions rocked the ground. A miner shouted into a broken radio, "Why? We were promised peace." The answer came only in the roar of bombs. News spread like wildfire across the stars. The colonies reported attacks, burning farms on Titan Station, shattered domes on Ceres, trade convoys torn apart near the Kuiper Gate. The galaxy watched with a mixture of horror and satisfaction. Some whispered, "The humans will fall again." Others muttered uneasily, "But why do they not scream for help? Why do they not beg?" Inside the council chamber, alien delegates demanded answers. The human seat remained empty. The golden-horned leader rose with a proud smile. "Humanity has been punished for their pride. Let this be a lesson. Those who refuse the council's will shall not endure." Applause rang through the chamber. Though some clapped slower than others, the old stone-skinned veteran sat in silence, his hands clenched tightly. At last he spoke. "This is no lesson. This is a spark on dry grass. You will regret lighting it." His words were ignored, drowned out by cheers far away on Earth. Silence ruled the command halls. Human leaders gathered in secret. Their screen showed flames, broken ships, ruined homes. One officer slammed his fist on the table. "They struck without warning, without cause. Families have died. They want us broken again." Another leaned forward, her eyes cold. "No, they want us to fear them. They want us to crawl. That is why we will not." The room fell quiet as the human commander entered. His voice was calm, almost too calm. "They believe we are weak. They believe our silence is surrender. But silence was never surrender. Silence was preparation, a young officer whispered. Do we reveal it now? The commander's gaze turned toward the stars on the map, red dots marking every burning colony. His answer was a single word, yes. Around the room, lights began to glow on hidden consoles. Codes activated systems long kept secret, deep under Earth's oceans. Machines rumbled awake on the far side of the moon. Shadows moved as massive hangars opened in the black void beyond Mars. Signals stirred ships that had never been shown to the galaxy. Humanity's hidden arsenal was no longer sleeping. But none of this was known to the galaxy yet. What they saw instead was the ambassador returning briefly to the council chamber. His steps were steady, his face unreadable. The hall grew tense. Whispers rose as he took his place at the table. The golden-horned leader smirked. You return at last. Have you come to beg? Have you come to accept our rule? The ambassador's reply was soft, but carried across the room. No, I came to witness, to see who applauded the murder of children, to see who called slaughter a lesson, and now I have seen. The chamber erupted in noise. Some shouted for his arrest, others sneered, but many fell into uneasy silence. The ambassador turned, his last words cold as stone. You have chosen war. Remember this moment when fire answers you. Without waiting for reply, he walked out, leaving behind a hall that no longer laughed as boldly as before. Outside the chamber, hidden behind the curtain of stars, the first human warship engines flared to life. Their power was ancient yet new, familiar yet terrifying. The betrayal was complete, but so was the awakening. Humanity had been struck, and now the galaxy would learn the cost. The galaxy had barely begun to calm after the collapse of the peace talks, when the first rumors reached the stars. Merchants whispered across trade routes, soldiers passed messages in hushed voices. The humans left the council without bowing, some said. They will come crawling back, others replied with arrogance. Yet in the shadows of this false calm, plans were being drawn that would change everything. On a distant world hidden by dust clouds, a war council gathered. Generals of a powerful alien faction stood around a glowing table, star maps flickering beneath their claws and hands. Their eyes gleamed with hunger. The humans dared to walk away, hissed a reptilian commander, his voice sharp as a blade. They mocked us with silence. We cannot allow such defiance to spread. Another general slammed his armored fist down, shaking the table. Strike now. While they are weak, let us burn their colonies. Show the galaxy that humanity is nothing. The youngest among them shifted uneasily. But what if their silence was not weakness? He asked softly. What if they are hiding something? The room filled with cruel laughter. A horned leader sneered, Hiding? Their fleets are scraps, their weapons outdated. They have nothing but pride. We will crush them before the council even notices. Plans were set. Ships prepared, secret orders sent. Within days, the betrayal began. The first strike fell on Cora 7, a small human mining colony. Families lived under domes. Miners worked deep in the rock. Children played in the artificial parks. They never saw the attack coming. The sky turned red as alien warships descended. Missiles shattered defense satellites. Fire rained down on the colony. A mother screamed as she pulled her child into a shelter. Why are they attacking? We signed peace, her husband shouted, clutching a broken comm device. But the only answer was the roar of collapsing metal. Elsewhere, human trade convoys were ambushed. Cargo ships split open in space, their crews left drifting. Titan Station reported explosions tearing through its farms. Ceres Dome cracked under bombardment. The news spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Alien broadcasters announced with pride, Human resistance is broken, markets whispered. Perhaps humanity has fallen again. Yet behind the whispers, an unease grew. Something felt wrong. In the council chamber, alien delegates gathered again. Their eyes turned to the human seat, empty and cold. The golden-horned leader rose proudly. You see, humanity has been punished for its arrogance. Their colonies burn, their people beg. Let this be a lesson. Applause thundered across the hall. But not all joined. The old stone-skinned veteran sat silent. His aide whispered, "Elder, why do you not celebrate?" The veteran's voice was low and heavy. Because this is not victory. This is a spark. And sparks grow into fire far away. On Earth, silence filled the command halls. Human leaders sat around a glowing table, their faces grim as images of destroyed colonies played across the screens. One officer slammed his hand on the table. They struck without warning. Families are dead. Do we just sit and wait? Another leaned forward, her voice sharp. No. They want us broken. They want us begging, but they will get neither. The room fell quiet as the commander entered. His uniform dark, his face calm, his voice cut through the silence. They think our silence is fear. They are wrong. Our silence was preparation. A younger officer whispered, "Do we reveal it now?" The commander's eyes moved to the star map. Red lights marking every burning outpost. His answer was steady. Yes, it begins now. Lights flickered across the command hall as hidden codes activated. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, massive machines stirred. On the far side of the moon, sealed hangars opened. Shadows the size of cities drifted free into the void, far beyond Mars. Old signals reached fleets that had been waiting unseen. The galaxy had no idea what was waking. Back at the council, the human ambassador returned. The chamber froze as he stepped to the table. The golden-horned leader smirked. "So the human comes to beg. Do you kneel now? Do you accept your place?" The ambassador's voice was soft, but each word struck like iron. "No, I came to see who applauded the slaughter of children, to see who called murder a lesson. And now, I have seen." The chamber erupted. Some demanded his arrest. Others laughed, but many fell silent. Something in his calm words carried more weight than shouting ever could. The ambassador turned to leave, his last words echoing. "You wanted war, remember this day, for fire will answer you." He walked out, leaving a silence that no alien dared break. Outside the council world, far in the cold reaches of space, a massive warship came to life. Its engines burned brighter than suns. Its hull carried weapons no spy had ever reported. One by one, more shadows awoke in the dark. Humanity's hidden arsenal rising from centuries of silence. The betrayal had begun, but so too had the reckoning. The galaxy thought it had seen humanity broken. It had not yet seen humanity unleashed. The council chamber slept in uneasy silence, but far across the stars, something ancient stirred. Humanity's colonies still burned, smoke still rose from shattered domes and broken stations. But on Earth, in secret halls buried deep under oceans and mountains, quiet hands moved across consoles for centuries. Humanity had prepared for this moment. They had shown weakness, spoken of peace. But in the shadows they had built, they had hidden, they had waited. Inside the command chamber beneath the Atlantic Ocean, the human commander stood before a wall of screens. His officers surrounded him, their faces pale from the news of fallen colonies. But in their eyes burned something colder than grief. "The fleets are gone," one officer said. "Our people cry out for protection. If we do nothing, the galaxy will believe we are finished." The commander raised his hand, his voice calm. "We are not finished. We were never finished. Today they will learn that silence is not surrender." The room shook slightly as ancient systems powered on. Rusted locks gave way, massive doors opened. Deep below the ocean floor, colossal shapes rose, water boiling around them. A young officer whispered in awe, "They were real." "All the stories were true," another answered, his voice trembling. "Not stories. Weapons far across the solar system." The same awakening spread. On the far side of the moon, a barren crater split apart, revealing a hidden hangar that had been buried for generations. Inside, sleek black warships hummed to life, engines glowing with blue fire. A voice crackled through the command channel. "Lunar Arsenal online, awaiting orders." The commander's lips curved into the smallest of smiles. "Hold for now, let the galaxy wonder what has awakened." Meanwhile, alien spies panicked. Hidden probes recorded shadows rising from oceans, fleets emerging from the void. Their messages reached their masters in fragments. Unknown vessels detected near Earth, numbers too high to count. "Technology unrecorded!" One alien general smashed his fist on the table. Impossible, humanity was disarmed. They had nothing. But another, pale and silent, muttered, "Then explain what we see." The council hall filled with arguments. Some demanded the humans be stopped at once. Others whispered that perhaps the old stories had been true. On Mars, miners watched as a mountain split open, revealing titanic machines that had slept beneath the red sands. They stared in disbelief, one whispering, "We thought they were myths. They told us these weapons were scrapped." A soldier beside him answered grimly, "They lied to protect us. They lied to protect everyone. And now the lie is ending." Back in the council world, the golden horned leader called an emergency session. His voice thundered, "This is a bluff. Humanity cannot have such weapons. They are projecting shadows to frighten us." But the stone-skinned veteran rose slowly, his gaze heavy as mountains. "I told you," he said. "I told you silence hides more than words. What you see now is not a bluff, it is a warning. And it is only the beginning." The ambassador returned once more, his steps calm, his uniform still plain compared to the gleaming robes around him. The golden-horned leader sneered, "You think your toys frighten us? You dare to awaken relics." The ambassador placed a single data crystal on the table. It projected images, massive warships rising from oceans, drones flooding into the sky, cannons glowing with strange power. Alien leaders gasped, one whispering, "By the stars! Those weapons are not relics, they are new." The ambassador's voice was steady. "For centuries you thought we were rebuilding slowly. You thought our weakness was truth. But while you laughed, while you mocked, we prepared. We built in silence, we hid what we could not show. And now the choice is yours. Stand down, or watch the stars burn." The chamber erupted into chaos. Some demanded immediate war, others begged for retreat. The golden-horned leader roared, "Empty threats! They cannot fight all of us!" But even as he spoke, messages flooded in. Alien fleets reporting strange human weapons cutting through blockades. Colonies reporting drones appearing like swarms of shadows. Fear spread faster than orders. On Earth, the commander watched silently as the arsenal awakened fully. Thousands of ships now floated across the solar system, weapons locked, engines humming. He turned to his officers. "They struck our families, our children. They believed we would crawl. They believed we would break. But humanity does not break. Humanity waits. Humanity endures. And when the time is right, humanity strikes." His words carried through every channel, reaching not only his people but spies who listened in terror. Across the galaxy, civilians whispered, "The humans are not what we thought. They are not weak." In the dark corridors of power, leaders realized too late that the peace talks had not collapsed by chance. They had collapsed because humanity had decided the galaxy was not ready for peace. The old veteran sat alone in his chamber, his head heavy with memory. He whispered to himself, "The fire has returned. The galaxy mocked them, and now the galaxy will pay the price." His words, soft as they were, felt like thunder rolling across the stars. Outside Earth, the first fleet formed its line. Black ships gleamed in the sunlight, their hulls sharp and silent. Drones moved like living clouds around them. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if the humans would truly unleash what they had hidden. The arsenal had awakened, and the universe would never be the same again. The galaxy watched in silence as humanity's hidden arsenal came alive. Shadows of warships stretched across the void, drones swarmed like storms, and cannons hummed with power no one had seen before. But for days, those weapons waited. They did not fire. They did not move beyond Earth's borders. The waiting itself became unbearable. In the council chamber, leaders shouted at one another. "They bluff," one cried. "If they had true strength, they would have struck already," another snapped back. "Or perhaps they are choosing their moment." The golden-horned leader pounded his staff against the stone floor. "We cannot fear shadows. Order the fleets forward. We will crush them before they rise." His words drew cheers from some, but nervous glances from others. On a human outpost near the edge of the solar system, officers monitored the skies. A young lieutenant whispered, "They are coming. Enemy fleets gathering, dozens. No, hundreds of ships." His commander placed a hand on his shoulder. "Hold steady. The first strike must be theirs." Outside the station's windows, black ships drifted silently, waiting like predators. The first alien fleet charged. Their engines blazed, cannons firing across the void. Explosions shook the human station. Alarms screamed. Civilians scrambled for cover. "Shields collapsing!" shouted an officer. But before despair could take root, a single command echoed through the human fleet. "Release the swarm!" From Earth's hidden warships, clouds of drones burst into the dark. Thousands, then tens of thousands, moving as one. They streaked across the battlefield like rivers of light. Alien cannons fired wildly, but the swarm moved too fast, wrapping around battleships. Tearing armor apart piece by piece, a stunned alien admiral gasped, This is impossible!" His crew screamed as their ship cracked in half. Swallowed by fire, at the same time human warships advanced. Their weapons unleashed beams that cut through shields as if they were paper. Explosions bloomed across the alien lines. Panic spread. "They are everywhere." One alien cried, "Our weapons do nothing." Within minutes, what began as a confident assault turned into chaos. Ships collided as they tried to retreat, commanders shouting orders drowned in static. Back at the council, frantic messages flooded in. "Our fleets are falling. Our defenses cannot hold. What are these weapons?" Leaders who had mocked humanity now trembled. Some demanded reinforcements. Others screamed for surrender. The golden-horned leader tried to hold control. "Do not panic." This is only their first wave. But even he could not hide the fear in his eyes. On Earth, the human commander stood calm, watching the battle unfold across holographic screens. "They thought us weak," he said softly. "They thought our silence was surrender. Now they will learn our silence was war waiting to be born." One officer turned to him. "Do we press forward? Do we strike their worlds?" The commander's gaze hardened. "Not yet. Let them feel the weight of fear first. Fear is a weapon sharper than steel." In the outer systems, more alien fleets arrived, desperate to block humanity's advance. They deployed their most powerful warships, ships that had ruled the stars for centuries. But against humanity's arsenal they crumbled. Human drones swarmed their engines. New weapons sliced through their cores. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy's strongest fleets were not feared. They were prey aboard one alien flagship. A general screamed at his crew, "Fire everything. Do not let them close." But his words turned to silence when a human warship appeared directly in front of them. Its hull was sleek, its cannons glowing with unnatural light. Before the alien crew could even react, the warship fired a single shot. The flagship disintegrated, nothing left but debris drifting into darkness across the galaxy. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer hiding. Back in the council chamber, chaos reached its peak. Delegates shouted over one another, "We must beg for peace!" One cried, "No, we must unite and fight!" Screamed another. The old stone-skinned veteran rose slowly, his deep voice silencing the hall. "You fools! You struck them first, you burned their children, and now you face the storm you created." His words fell like hammers, and no one dared laugh. Meanwhile, the human ambassador entered the chamber once again. His uniform was the same, plain and dark, his expression calm. The room froze. Every leader turned to face him. Fear hung heavy in the air. The golden-horned leader growled, "You come to gloat? To mock us?" The ambassador's voice was cold. "No, I come to remind you. We offered peace. You chose war. Now you will taste the consequence." His words echoed, and for a moment no one breathed. Then from the outer systems, another message arrived. "The alien stronghold at Vera has fallen. Humanity has taken their world." Gasps filled the chamber. One delegate whispered, "Their advance is unstoppable." The ambassador turned to leave, but paused at the doorway. His final words cut through the silence like a blade. "This is only the beginning." Then he was gone, leaving behind leaders who once laughed, now trembling in fear. Outside, the void burned with fire. Alien fleets scattered, their empires shaking. Humanity was no longer a survivor. Humanity was no longer a whisper of old wars. Humanity was the storm, and the storm had arrived. The galaxy was burning. Skies above once proud worlds glowed with fire. Fleets that had ruled for centuries were shattered. Their wrecks drifted in silence, broken monuments to arrogance. Humanity had struck back with fury, and nothing seemed strong enough to stop them. Yet amid the destruction, the universe held its breath, waiting to see how far the storm would go. Inside the human command chamber, glowing screens displayed battles across 100 systems. Officers reported victory after victory. Vera's stronghold destroyed, one said. Ceres' colonies secured, another announced. But the commander did not smile. His face remained cold. They believed us weak, he said softly. They believed our silence was surrender. Now they know silence was the sound of a blade being sharpened. A younger officer hesitated. Sir, the council requests parley. They beg for talks again. The commander turned slowly, his eyes sharp. Talks? After they burned our colonies? After they applauded the death of our children? No, talks will come only when the stars themselves demand it. His voice carried across the room, filling even the most hardened soldiers with chills. Meanwhile, in the council chamber, chaos had turned into fear. Leaders who once mocked humanity now whispered in trembling voices. We must end this war, or our worlds will vanish, one said. The golden-horned leader slammed his staff. We cannot bow. If we bend now, humanity will rule us all. The old stone-skinned veteran rose, his voice rumbling like thunder. Better to bow than to burn, you struck first. You called murder a lesson. Now they return the lesson. Doubled. His words silenced the hall. No one dared argue as the debates raged. The chamber doors opened. The human ambassador walked in once more. His steps were steady, his uniform plain. But the room froze, as if death itself had entered. The golden-horned leader snarled. You dare walk here while your fleets slaughter ours? The ambassador placed a small crystal on the table. It flickered to life, projecting images, alien cities burning, fleets broken, drones circling like storms. Gasps filled the room. Some leaders looked away, unable to watch. The ambassador's voice was calm but cold. This is not vengeance, this is justice. You burned our homes. You slaughtered our children. You betrayed peace. Now you will learn the cost of betrayal. A trembling delegate asked, Will you not stop? Will you not grant mercy? The ambassador turned his gaze on him. Mercy is not given, it is earned, and you have earned none. But then, to the shock of all, the ambassador pressed the crystal again. A new image appeared, not of destruction, but of a fleet that had not yet moved. Colossal ships larger than anything seen before. Their weapons glowed faintly, but they remained silent. The ambassador's voice lowered, almost like a whisper. This is what you have not yet seen. This is what still waits. We offered peace once, you spat on it. We will not offer twice. The hall trembled with silence. Leaders shifted uneasily. Some wept, others clenched their fists. The golden-horned leader shouted in desperation, You cannot rule us all. The galaxy will rise against you. The ambassador's eyes were cold as he answered, The galaxy has already risen, and it has already fallen. Back in the human command hall, the commander addressed his officers. The time has come. Send the message. Across the stars, transmitters flared to life, carrying a single broadcast to every world. Every fleet, every station, civilian soldiers, and leaders all froze as the same human voice spoke. Calm, yet filled with steel. We came for peace. You chose war. Remember this, humanity does not forgive betrayal. Humanity does not forget, and when you force our hand, humanity does not stop. The words spread like fire. Echoing in every corner of the galaxy, some aliens collapsed in despair. Others whispered in fear. A few even bowed their heads, whispering, They are the storm, and the storm has come. In the council chamber, no one dared speak after the message ended. The golden-horned leader's staff slipped from his hand, clattering on the floor. The old veteran closed his eyes, whispering, The stars will remember this day, the day peace died, and humanity's fire was reborn, and beyond Earth, the human fleet stood ready, silent but unstoppable. Their banners glimmered against the black void, not as symbols of survival, but of dominance. The last message had been spoken, and the galaxy would never again look at humanity as weak. Humanity had risen, and nothing could put them back in the shadows. "We've got to get the communication systems back online," Harris shouted over the noise in the command center. "If we can't fight back, we lose!" One of the officers worked furiously at a console, his fingers flying across the controls. "We're trying, General, but the signal is too strong. We're running out of time." In the midst of the chaos, Earth's forces were beginning to break. The Vola were everywhere, their ships raining destruction down on Earth's defenses. The Black Armada, once a symbol of humanity's strength, was now struggling to respond. "We've got to do something," Carter said, her voice almost lost in the noise. "We can't just sit here and wait to be defeated." Harris's eyes flashed with realization. "We can't rely on the communications, but we still have something they don't know about." He turned to the lead officer. "Activate the secondary fleet, the one they didn't see coming." The officer hesitated. "General, that fleet hasn't been used in over a decade. It's a risk. We don't have a choice," Harris said, his voice hard with resolve. "Activate it now." Suddenly, as if summoned from the depths of Earth's reserves, a new fleet emerged from the shadows. Smaller, faster ships, built for speed rather than brute strength, shot forward, catching the Vola completely by surprise. These ships, though not as powerful as the Black Armada, were nimble, and they knew how to strike fast and hard. The Vola fleet, already stretched thin, scrambled to adjust. They had no response to the unexpected assault. Earth's secondary fleet attacked with everything it had, disrupting the Vola's carefully laid plans. "We've got them," Carter exclaimed, watching as the Vola forces began to break apart. "Now's our chance." The battle shifted quickly. The Vola, overwhelmed by the unexpected counterattack, began to retreat. Their once proud fleet scattered, their ships fleeing in all directions. Earth's secondary fleet had turned the tide. With the Vola retreating once again, President Carter and General Harris stood in the command center, watching the destruction unfold on the screens. Earth had won another battle, but this time it felt different. They had been forced to fight without communication, without coordination, and yet they had prevailed. "We did it," Carter said quietly, her voice filled with disbelief. Harris nodded. "We did. But we're not done yet. The Volor will be back. And next time, we need to be ready." The war was far from over, but humanity had shown the galaxy that no matter the odds, Earth would fight back and never give up.